Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I'm Atul, and in this video we are going to see how we can use user-defined function or how we can create a user-defined function without argument in Python. So before we discuss about creating a user-defined function without argument, let's revisit the concept of user-defined function which we had discussed in our previous video. So writing function is a core activity of a programmer, and Python provides a great support to create user-defined functions. User-defined functions are created according to the requirement of the user, and once these user-defined functions are created, then they are used like the built-in functions. So a function without argument can be created using an empty parenthesis because all the arguments inside a function are passed within the parenthesis. One more thing that we need to keep in mind is that the function without argument can be created with or without return function. The major advantage of function is that it can be created once and called many times throughout the code. So let's create a simple user-defined function without argument and compute the result so that we can get the flavor that how we can create a user-defined function. So I'm going to create a simple user-defined function. The first thing that we need to do is that we need to use this def keyword, which is def keyword. So this is the definition. Then we are going to put the function name. Let's say I'm creating a simple function, so I'm gonna give the name as simple function example. You can give whatever name you want, and then we have to give this parenthesis. After this parenthesis, I'm going to give this colon, and then I'm going to put two variable over here, local variable, num1 equal to 150, num2 equal to 300. And if I have to get the sum of these two numbers, then I can do it over here only. Simply I can put num1 plus num2. Okay, but I have to print the value also, so it's better to use the print function within this user defined function and then give some information saying that the sum of two numbers is, and then we give this num1 plus num2, and then I'm going to close the parenthesis. Now we have defined this function. If I run this, nothing will be displayed on your output because you have not called this function yet. You have simply defined the function name, you have given the statements or function body, but you have not called it yet. In order to call it, you just have to simply put the function name like this. So I'm copying this simple function example over here and then these brackets. So now if I run this, I have the output saying that the sum of two number is 450. Okay, so in this program we have not passed any argument over here within the bracket. So we have not passed any argument to the function. The function assigned the value of 120 to number 1, sorry, num1 over here. Then the function assigned 300 to this num2 variable, and then it prints the addition of this num1 and num2. When the function is called over here, it simply returns the addition of num1 and num2 with this print function. So let's take another example. Okay, we'll create a function without argument and using the for loop to print the table of 5. Okay, so let's say that I'm creating a function that can print the table of 5. So I have to give the unique name of that function. So I'm going to define that function with def, and I'm going to give the name table of 5, then this bracket, then this colon. Then I'm going to give the for loop. So for this table I need number from 1 till 10, right? 5 into 1 equal to 5, 5 into 2 equal to 10, like this. So I'm gonna say for I in range 1 comma 11. So we will give the last value as 11 because we know that in Python we have n minus 1 value in range, so it will go from 1 till 10. Then again I'm gonna put print. I'm going to say 5 into comma the value of I, then comma equal to, then I'm going to simply put 5 into this I. Okay, now I need to call this function. For calling this function, I'm just gonna put simply the name of this function, table of 5, and this bracket. Now if I run this, you can see that we have a table. 5 into 1 is equal to 5, 5 into 2 is equal to 10, and it goes till from 1 till 10, right? The first thing that we did in this code is that we have defined the function by the name table of 5, right? And there is no argument in this function passed inside this function. Then the function has a for loop over here, which has I as a counter variable, and a sequence is generated from 1 till 10. The for loop body multiplies each number starting from 1 till 10 with 5 and print the table of 5. And that's how we are getting the table of 5 over here in our output. Okay, now let's think of another simple example that is very useful in our day-to-day life. So let's say that I have to create multiple function without argument in a single program. Then how we can do that? So we'll create couple of function. Let's say that we are creating function for area of a square. Okay, then we'll create function known as area circle. Okay, I'm just defining the names right now so that we can have idea that how many functions that we are going to declare in a single program. Then let's assume that we'll also get area of rectangle. So area of rectangle, and let's say that we want the user to choose what they want to get, whether they want to get area of a square, area of circle, or area of rectangle, right? So let me comment these out first. Okay, and let's talk about the body of the program first. Okay, so we want the user to give us the input saying that I want area of a square or area of circle or area of rectangle, right? So I need to get that input into a variable. So I'm going to say user choice as my variable in which I'm going to take the user input. So my user input will be the integer value 1 2 3. So I have given int over here. Then I'm going to use the input function saying that please select 1 for square, 2 for circle, and 3 for rectangle. Okay, now assume that we have received the user input. Now what should happen? We have to compare whether the user choice is 1 2 or 3. Based on the user choice, we have to get the area of that specific shape, right? So I'm going to use a control statement over here saying that if user underscore choice is equal to 1, then call this area of a square. Okay, else, or elif user underscore choice is equal to 2, then call area of circle. Elif user underscore choice is equal to 3, then we are going to call this area of rectangle. Okay, and what if the user gives us any other input apart from 1 to 3? In that case, we should inform the user that you have selected a invalid choice or you have given an invalid choice, right? So for else, I'm going to simply print saying that your choice is not valid, and then let's give it as it is, your choice is not valid. Okay, now The main program over here says that we have taken the user input, we are comparing it, and then based on comparison, we are calling the functions, right? Now we have to define these functions one by one. So for area of a square, what do we need? We need the length, right? So within this function, again, we are going to get input from user saying that please input the length of a square. And based on the input that you have given, we'll calculate the area of a square, right? So I'm just going to give side as a variable in which I'm going to save the input from the user saying that please enter the length of square. Once we get this input from user, we'll simply print the area of a square is, and then we are going to multiply this side into side. So this will be the area of a square, right? Let me copy this thing. Okay, now let's talk about area of circle. So for area of circle, we have to multiply 3.14, which is pi, into radius square, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to get radius over here from the user saying that please enter the radius of circle. Okay, please enter the radius of circle, and then we are going to say the area of circle is pi, which is 3.14 into this radius square. Okay, now we are left with area of rectangle. So what if the user selects 3 as a user choice? In that case, we have to get the area of rectangle, right? Again, we'll ask the user to input the length of rectangle and breadth of rectangle, and then we are going to calculate the area of rectangle basically. So let me paste it over here saying that length. So we are asking the user please enter the length of rectangle. Let me copy this and put it again over here, and I'm just going to change this breadth, and I'm going to put over here again please enter the breadth of the rectangle. Then we are going to say the area of rectangle is length into breadth, right? So we'll take this length and we'll put it over here saying that length into this breadth. Now we have our function complete for area of a square, we have our function complete for area of circle and area of rectangle. Let's run this and test it out for each and every choice that we are giving to the user. Okay, so let me run this. The first thing that Python is asking me to please select 1 for a square, 2 for circle, and 3 for rectangle. So I'm just gonna select 1 for a square. Okay, and now it is asking me please enter the length of a square. So what happened over here, the program started from here, these three function without any argument got compiled, then the program control comes to this line and it asks the user to select the value 1 for a square, 2 for circle, and 3 for rectangle. Once I selected 1, this means that I want area of a square. So the control comes to this line and it checks whether the user choice is equal to 1 or not. Okay, if it is 1, then it calls the area of a square. Now the control goes to this line and on this line. Okay, over here the program asked us to enter the length of a square, so I'm gonna put 5 as the length of a square. The moment I press enter, the control will come to this line and it will print the area of a square, and then it will multiply the side which is 5, which is given by me over here. Okay, it will give 5 into 5, 25. So let me press enter, and you can see that we have the area of a square is 25, right? Again, let me run this, and this time I'm gonna select 2 as a circle. So it's asking me the radius of circle. So let's put 5 again and press enter. So now we have area of circle is 78.5. Okay, let's run it again. This time I'm gonna select 3 for rectangle. The first thing that program is asking me is the length of rectangle. Let's put 10. Breadth of rectangle, let's put 25 and press enter. So we have the area of rectangle is 250. What if I do not select 1, 2, 3? I select anything else. So let me run this again. If I select, let's say 45, and if I press enter, you can see that we have an error over here due to this spelling mistake. And you can see that we have ran this program 3 times earlier, and every output was given. But the reason that we are getting this error, because earlier when we were running the program, the 3 times earlier when we ran the program, the control has never came to this part. When we ran the first time, user input was, or user choice was 1, so it came to this line, it came to area of a square, and then it came over here and program got exited. Second time it came on this line, user choice was not 1, so it came to this elif, user choice was 2, so the control goes to area circle and it comes over here, then it takes the radius, prints the area of circle. Third time same, it comes over here in this line, user choice was not 3. Over here elif, user choice was not 1, it was 3 over here. The second over here in elif, user choice was 3, so 3 is not equal to 2. The third time elif, the user choice is equal to 3, so that's why area rectangle got called, and we were having asked to put length and breadth, and the area of rectangle was printed. This time when I entered the value 45, all of these condition got failed. That's why the control comes to this else part, and we were having that error saying that PRITN is not defined. So let me run it again and put 45. Okay, if I put 45 and press enter, you can see that we have this output, your choice is not valid. So in this program we created 3 functions named as area square, area circle, and area rectangle with no parameter. All the function ask for the required variables from the user from being inside the body of the function, and then it prints the area of the respective shape. From the main program, the user is asked to give the choice, and depending on the choice entered by the user, the respective function is called. For example, area square function is called and executed when user enters 1, and so on. So let's modify this function a little. Okay, let's modify this function in such a way that we'll create the function without arguments and return a single value. Okay, we are not going to print these area lines or these things within the function. We'll return this area for each and every shape, and then based on the user input we will be printing out the area. Okay, so let me do this first. So let me copy this entire thing and put it over here first, and instead of this print statement, okay, let me just comment this out. Okay, so for this I'm just gonna say return side into side. Okay, for area of circle we are going to say return 3.14, return 3.14 into radius, and we are going to comment this line. Similarly, for rectangle we are going to comment this print line and return the area by length into breadth. Okay, over here we'll keep the same as it is, that we'll take the user input first, and based on the user input we'll call the functions. Once the functions are called, then we'll save that area of that shape into a particular variable. So let's say our variable will be result area. So we are going to say result area is equal to area square. So if the user selects 1, or the user choice is 1, which is a square, then this area square will be called. User will be asked to input the length of a square. It will calculate side into side and return the value, and this returned value will get saved into this result area. Okay, similarly for area of circle, if user select 2 for area of circle, then area of circle function will be called. User will be prompted to enter the radius of circle, then the area of circle will be calculated over here and it will get returned, and it will get saved into this result area. Okay, similarly for area rectangle also. Now we just need to say print the area of selected shape is, and we are going to give this result area variable over here in which our area is saved. So let me run this code first. So when I run this code, it's asking me to input the shape, right? Whichever I want to select. So let's select circle and press enter. Now it's asking me for the radius of circle. Let's put the radius of circle as 5 and press enter. You can see that we are getting the area of selected shape is 78.5. Earlier in our program, when we had selected the area of circle over here, we were getting 78.5 only. Okay, so let's explain this entire code that we have written. Okay, the purpose of this code is same as the earlier example, to print the area of respective shape, but the methodology is different. In previous program, the area of shape was printed from the function body itself. In this program, we have used the return statement to pass the control from the function to the main program, which returns the value of area of the respective shape. Here we can observe that all the function calculate the area inside the function and return the area of the respective shape to the main program, which is further get stored into a variable result area over here. And finally the area is printed during the execution of the main program. Now let's go one step ahead with this. What if I want to create a function that will return multiple values? In this case, we want to return multiple areas of a square. We do not want the user to select the shape. We just want to calculate the area. Okay, so for that I'm just going to create a new function over here. Let's say I'm going to create a function area calculator. In this area calculator, I'm not going to take any argument. I'm just going to get all the details from user from the function body itself. So I'm gonna say side is equal to, let me copy this part again. Okay, side is equal to this, that we want user to enter the length of a square. Similarly for radius, we want user to enter the radius of the circle. Then we want user to enter the length and breadth size of the rectangle. Okay, now if I want to calculate the areas for each and every shape, what should I do? I should declare the variables, right? So I'm going to declare the multiple variables over here, saying that area of square is equal to, let's say area of a square would be side into side, right? Then area of circle is equal to pi, which is 3.14, into radius into radius. Then area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth, right? Then we are going to return these variables. Okay, so we'll return all of these: area of a square, area of circle, and area of rectangle with a single return statement. Okay, so we'll say, let me copy this: area of a square, return area of a square, comma, area of circle, comma, area of rectangle. Okay, now we'll call the function. So let me put a print statement here saying that printing the area of square, and then we will say area of square. Okay, now let me copy this line and put it two times over here: area of circle and area of rectangle. I'm gonna change it to circle and rectangle. Okay, now if I run this, what will happen? We will be asked to enter the measurement of all the shapes. Okay, and then the area of each and every shape will be calculated and it will be returned, and then it will get printed out over here from the main program. So let me run this first. Okay, we have an error over here saying that name area of a square is not defined. Okay, we missed to call the function. Okay, so let me copy this entire thing once and let me call this function area calculator. So as we are returning these three values, we have to have three values over here. Okay, and it's not necessary that you need to keep the same name. You can put one over here also. Let me put one. Okay, and you will see that all the values will get saved. So area of square will get saved into area of square 1 sequentially, area of circle will get saved into area of circle 1, area of rectangle will get saved into area of rectangle 1. So let me keep one over here. Okay, now let me run it again. So we have to enter the length of a square. Let's put 5. Radius of circle, let's put 5. Length of rectangle 10. Breadth of rectangle 25. So now we have the value saying that printing the area of a square as 25, printing the area of circle as 78.5, and printing the area of rectangle as 250. So in this program, we created a function named as area calculation, which returns the area of all the shapes. Since the function returned three values, hence it is important to store them in three values or variables. Over here we had given the names: area of a square 1, area of a square area of circle 1, and area of rectangle 1. It is also important to note that a difference in number of variables will result in an error in the program. So if I remove this area of circle from here, okay, let me remove this, and then if I run it, you will get an error. Okay, so let's say if I'm giving the length of a square as 5, radius of circle as 5, rectangle length of rectangle 10, and breadth 25. Now we are getting an error saying that too many values to unpack, and it gives us the indication that over here we have the error. Now let me again put that area of a square over here and let me run it again. Length of square 5, radius of circle 5, and length of rectangle 10, breadth of rectangle 25. So we have the output. Okay, so it's always important to remember that how many variables are there in which you are saving your result. So this user defined function without argument are very powerful tool for structuring code in a clear, maintainable and reusable way. These user defined functions are particularly useful for encapsulating static or repetitive tasks, which helps us to simplify the complex program and improve the overall code quality. So happy learning, and see you in the next video, in which we are going to discuss about the user defined function, where we will create user defined function with argument.